And so I says to him, how about a magic trick? And I take one of those jumbo pencils you get at the fair, like the really big ones, and I shove the whole thing right up my, oh hey, didn't see you there. Again. Boy, you really gotta stop sneaking up on me like that, or I might just have to tell you another joke, Murray. Welcome back, any and everybody, to the channel for another absolutely top-notch video for you today. Just another quick reminder that my very own Ko-Fi donation page will be in the pinned comment and description. And this will probably be the last video that I actually verbally mention it, because I don't want to just keep beating you over the head with it or anything. So yeah, for any videos after this, it'll always be in the description or pinned comment. Again, if I remember it. But if I forget one, it'll be in the other. So just check. I also just want to give a little quick political note, and I know I don't really talk about politics on my channel much. I kind of try to make it a point to not do that a whole lot. I just want to get something out of the way really quick because my brain has been about to completely shatter since November 5th, and things are absolutely about to get way worse. I just have no doubt in my mind about that. And I'm guessing there's a whole lot of you, especially if you're watching this channel, who feel the exact same way. And I just want you guys to know you're not alone. There are millions and millions of people across this country and even across the world who know exactly what that wannabe tyrant piece of shit is capable of. He is way angrier, way more vengeful, and way more open about his fucked up vision. So I just wanted everybody who watches this to know that you are not alone, and this always will be a place of inclusion. This is no place for racism, sexism, homophobia, any kind of bigotry. If that's who you are, this is not for you. I don't really care if this loses me viewers. If you are a hateful and bigoted person, you are not welcome here. But if you are a caring, decent, empathetic person, you will always have a place here, and you are not alone. You are accepted. So now that that's out of the way, we're going to be diving into one of my favorite topics to talk about ever, Batman. Or even more specifically, we're going to be talking about a character related to Batman. Or even more specifically, we're going to be talking about a movie about a character related to Batman. Or even more specifically, we're going to be talking about the sequel to a movie about a character related to Batman. That's right, today we're going to be talking about Joker Folie. Now right off the bat, see what I did there? I would like to warn you that this movie, I am not going to talk positively about it. Most of the media that I talk about on this channel are things that I like, things that I love even. Like with the Dune video, for example, I was just gushing with excitement about how it absolutely blew me away. This is not that. And even with things that I vehemently dislike, I try not to tell you guys to hate it or say that I hate it, because there are people that like those things, and I don't want to just shit all over that. But this movie, I feel so strongly about it that I mean, we'll get into it, but yeah, I'm gonna talk about how much I hate it. I'm sorry. It's my channel and I make the rules, bucko. So back in 2019, before the movie Joker came out, I was living with my good friend and at the time roommate in a very shitty house with no internet or cable, so I would go to the movies kind of a lot, especially that year, because did we get a whole lot of movies. And right before the movie came out, I, and along with the rest of the world, was still coming off the hype of Avengers Endgame and Spider-Man Far From Home. These movies were amazing and had wrapped up the MCU at that point in an incredibly satisfying way. But it was also the beginning of what would eventually be known as superhero fatigue, or even Marvel fatigue. People were just getting tired of the oversaturation of multiple big budget blockbusters a year with just huge spectacle and giant CGI monsters and villains. It was just getting to be too much, too often, and too fast. To put it in the simplest terms, people were looking for something different. But with the current trends, and after DC had completely fucked itself in the mouth with the dumpster fire that was the DCEU, no one really knew what exactly it was they were looking for. And then on October 4th, 2019, Joker hit theaters and instantly became one of the smashiest hits to ever smash a hit. On its opening weekend alone, it made $96.2 million, and until this year, 2024, Joker was the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time, beating out insane competition like Passion of the Christ, Deadpool, Matrix Reloaded, Deadpool 2. Not to mention, it was the 6th highest grossing movie of the year, and again, that year was filled with movies. And to this day is the 39th highest grossing movie of all time, right behind the first Jurassic Park. Again, one of the smashiest hits to ever smash a hit, and to top it all off, it's just a straight up good movie. A societal allegory film about classism and the abandonment of the mentally ill and the stigma attached to mental illness that also serves as a love letter to early Scorsese movies, and features one of the most intriguing and popular characters to ever exist, and has some good old-fashioned gratuitous violence? Sign me up for some of that. I'm a psychopath.
Give me Robert De Niro's blood.
It was also directed by a relatively unknown director at the time by the name of Todd Phillips, who is mainly famous for making movies like Road Trip, Old School, and the Hangover trilogy. Even when I heard that the guy that made this made the Hangover movies, I was fucking so shocked. And it's not because the Hangover movies are necessarily bad. They are, but that's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that nobody expected someone like him to make something like this, something of this caliber. caliber, especially with a budget of an estimated $55 to $70 million, which if you don't know, is relatively low for a comic book movie. Although I will say, if you compare a movie like Avengers Endgame's budget to a movie like this's budget, then it makes more sense because it uses way less CGI and special effects and whatnot, but it's still lower than what would many consider its peers, which on the low end is like usually $100 million, and on the high end is like $300 to $400 million. Even Batman Begins, which came out in 2005, was for a budget of $150 million, which adjusted for inflation almost 20 years later is over $242 million. Point is, this movie was not given a lot of things that movies usually need today in order to make a real impact on the landscape. It honestly doesn't really seem like DC or Warner Brothers had a lot of faith in it or really even cared what happened to it, which I don't really have any proof of, but it's just the vibes I get, man. It's just what I'm feeling, brother. But regardless of the circumstances, audiences around the world loved it, and it not only made an impact on the landscape, it made a goddamn crater with lava and demons coming out of it, I tell you what. And after that, DC, with those brand new shiny dollar bills in their eyes, did exactly what so many people asked them not to do. And in June 2022, the Joker sequel was officially announced to be in production. Now, why didn't people want a sequel to this movie if the original was so damn good? Well, let me tell you. For me as an individual, I really just wanted this film to sit in its own legacy by itself. And I really think it would have been better if the audience would just come up with their own continuation by themselves. So something that sequels often have a difficult time doing, as we all know, is not only living up to the original, but living up to the sequel that you have created yourself. Unless a movie is specifically set up to have a sequel or a franchise or a continuation set around it, you should almost never do a sequel. Star Wars, for example, was a movie that was specifically designed and set up to have multiple sequels. The first actual movie, released in 1977, was meant to only be one part of an overarching narrative that told the story of not only the characters set in it, but the galaxy that those characters were in. Star Wars was also an original series that had not yet been told in any other piece of media. There were no books or comics or TV shows or video games that had told this specific story before. Whereas a movie like Jaws, for example, was meant to only just be one book and by extension one movie and tell the complete story in just that. It's about a town that's being attacked by a shark, and these guys go to kill the shark, and then they kill it, and then bada bing, bada boom, the whole story is done. It wasn't meant to go on. It wasn't meant to have sequels and start a franchise, just like Joker was not meant to have sequels and start a franchise. There was no original idea that the story was meant to be told in multiple parts. It was just supposed to be one, and then the audience figures out the rest. And to top it off, the exact story itself was meant to be up to interpretation to the individual on what was real and what wasn't, because Arthur is an unreliable narrator. He's insane. He's the Joker.
I'm the Joker, baby!
And because it was designed to be a single story, and then executives demanded more because of money and franchise options, the team behind it now has to brainstorm and come up with ideas that were never originally meant to be told in the first place. It's like your boss asks you twice why you were late, but you never expected him to ask a second time. You figured he'd be fine with "I was sick" and just leave it at that. Why do you need more, motherfucker? Well, because bosses at other companies have to write a 10-page report every time one of their employees is late, and that's the popular thing. So now your boss has to do it too for some reason, even though he doesn't really. He just thinks he does because everybody else does it and because of money. Does that analogy make sense? I wrote it when I was not sober at all. Also, I'm writing this while not sober. Hee hee ha ha, poop fart piz shit, beat boing blong, Bebo, rafflecopter, rar XD, slay the house down, boots, mommy, chapel, roan, work with an E, kitty cat meow. Well, okay, what the fuck am I saying? I don't even know. Another issue that the original movie had was that it unfortunately appealed to a lot of people that it was not meant to ever appeal to. Arthur is obviously not the hero of the story. He is certainly the protagonist and can be an exaggeratedly relatable character, especially to people with like mental health issues and people who have experienced depression, bullying, but he is still not the hero at all, like in the slightest. He does a lot of fucked up shit and commits a lot of murders and even causes the murder of two people who, while they're not great people, don't deserve to be shot to death in an alleyway. It's also debatable in the case of Thomas Wayne specifically whether or not he actually did anything bad to Arthur. Yeah, he did punch Arthur in the face and that was pretty shitty, but we are also only getting it from Arthur's perspective. From Thomas Wayne's perspective, some random person he doesn't know hijacked an employee's uniform, followed him into the bathroom, corners him, and demands that he admit to being his father when he's definitely not, and then he just like maniacally laughs at him. It's creepy. Plus the whole thing earlier in the movie where Arthur visited Wayne Manor and stuck his fingers in Bruce's mouth, which would put him a little on edge that someone is sticking their dirty ass fingers in his son's oral receptacles, which I don't know if you can tell really fucking bothers me. It's so weird and gross and creepy, and it makes me so uncomfortable. If a stranger comes up to me and even puts his finger on my face, it doesn't even have to be in my mouth. If you put your hands on my face, I'm gonna bite your fucking hand off. Like, this is the arm, and I'm just and then I'm gonna be like Pennywise in that one scene and just wave at you with it. And just don't touch me. I don't like it. If you're my girlfriend or mom, I don't care. I'm gonna bite your hand off. It's that simple. But anyways, Arthur, he is not the hero. He is just not. He is a mentally deranged psychopath who murders people for the ha-has. But for some people, unfortunately, they did not see it that way and saw Joker as some kind of icon for their crazy political movements, which, by the way, he would absolutely not even be a part of. Groups like the incels and neo-Nazi organizations, just your real classic horrible people. People like Gypsy Crusader and Ulk Fright Light Projectionist Shitbag, who you may know for his Omegle videos where he likes to bully children and yell slurs. You know, this guy, yeah, him, that fuckstick. I really don't understand why these types of people think the Joker would support their like racist, misogynist, religious, nationalist ideologies. Like, that genuinely confuses me. It's the Joker. He's an insane psychopath. He doesn't target people based on a specific characteristic or ideology. He doesn't target specific groups. He's a psychopath who does it for the love of the game. He also famously hates Nazis. It's so weird that they think that he's some icon for their hateful movements. I don't know, it's always bugged me. But finally, exactly 5 years after the original, on October 4th, 2024, Joker Folie, Deux finally arrives into theaters and absolutely just fucking shits the bed. Oh my god, fills it up with diarrhea. It's filling up the pillowcases, it's all in the box spring, it's filling up the space between the floor and the bed. I mean, it's a fucking mess. One of the biggest flaws with the sequel, and this is something that I've seen people mention before online, but it really does try to make you feel bad if you related in any capacity to Arthur. Now, I get it. If you're trying to discourage very awful people, like the people that I mentioned earlier, from like taking up arms and committing hate crimes, like, I completely understand that part, but Arthur isn't really portrayed as that in the first movie, and they act like he always was. They act like Arthur was always like a reflection of those people instead of what he actually was, which is more of an exaggerated reflection of like a low-class, mentally ill, beaten down man. It's like the writers completely forgot everything that they did with Arthur's backstory in the original film and instead let the real life bad people who were wrongly inspired by him infect the character. And you can't really do that when you're dealing with a character like this, an already established character with a clear path ahead of where he's supposed to go, and who's supposed to no longer care about anything and eventually become the clown prince of crime. And yeah, I saw that Todd Phillips said that the character wasn't actually supposed to be the Joker, which is fucking stupid. It's an obvious lie, and he's just very clearly trying to course correct. The movie is called Joker. It's about his backstory. People in the movie call him Joker, including himself.
Can you introduce me as Joker?
Please welcome Joker.
Everything that Todd Phillips and for some reason Quentin Tarantino say about the movie is just so aggravatingly stupid. Like, for example, there's this discourse I've been seeing online from people, including them, where actually you're stupid if you don't like it, and Todd Phillips is actually a genius, and you're just too dumb and lowbrow to see the vision if you don't like the movie. No, dude, I see the vision. I'm wearing my glasses looking right at the vision. It's just that the vision is stupid and covered in mud. You let the real life, very small percentage of negative effects of the first movie affect this movie, instead of focusing on the good things the movie did, like giving people a fun cinematic experience and opening up a discussion about the topics portrayed in the movie. It's also a comic book character. It's not supposed to be super real. There's supposed to be some fantastic element to it and a little bit unrealistic. That's what people want to see, and instead you crapped all over that, and now your legacy is 3 shitty Hangover movies and a Joker sequel where the character is literally ripped out of him and murdered. And if you haven't seen the movie yet, that's actually what happens. He is actually assaulted by prison guards, and then he gives up on the character. That's your legacy now. Probably the biggest sequel disappointment in cinema history. You ruined your own movie. Just accept that and move on. I also didn't even pay for it, and I want my fucking money back. Or I mean, no, actually, I did totally pay for it. I went to the theater. I definitely didn't sail the 7 seas and watch it on a totally legal website. Who would do that? You wouldn't steal a car, would you? And also, if you made it this far into the video and you haven't actually seen the movie, you won't really ever hear me discourage you from seeing something, because I want people to just like make their own opinions about it, but that's just not the case here. Do not watch it. Please just let yourself live in blissful ignorance and remember the good things about the original movie and make up your own sequel. I'm begging you. Do not watch it. for realsies. So that's probably going to be it for today. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, even though it's a little bit of a darker note than I try to end on usually. I really try to just have a fun time and be a nice comedic escape, but this movie just left me feeling so horrible that I needed to talk about it, if not for my own sanity. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz, and donate to the Ko-Fi if you dare. I'd really appreciate it. And as always, fellas and ladies, I hope I made you laugh, I hope I made you smile, and I will see you when I do this again. Bye.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?